Hi, I'm Seymour, and I read the news. Top story of the day: the North Koreans have found a unicorn lair. This comes as a surprise for two reasons. One, the North Koreans are rarely first to market on scientific discoveries, and two, unicorns have never actually existed. And is lair really the right word for a unicorn abode? A lair. Really, a lair of unicorns. Doesn't that have the completely wrong connotation? But apparently I would be wrong. Not only is lair the correct word, but apparently the ancient unicorns actually self-identified their home as a lair. Again, according to the report, the lair is located 200 meters from the Yeonmyeon Temple in Moron Hill. A rectangular rock carved with the words Unicorn Lair stands at the front of said lair. So apparently they were rock carvers as well, and enjoyed tagging their items. That's like an archaeologist's dream. You're digging and all of a sudden you come upon a labeled artifact. Caution. Ahead you will find a unicorn lair. On the domestic front today, there are implications to increase production of domestic crude oil. So says this article that there are these traders, and they take this crude oil, and it's in this article, and you can read about it if you would like. I don't know, the links in the bottom of in the description. Shit. I'm not that good at this. This isn't something that I'm necessarily good at or like to do. I mean, I don't really even enjoy reading the news. It's not something I normally would do in my free time. My reason for doing this is actually, well, it's Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is my reason for reading the news. Now, a little background: my dad, he's a famous newsman. You've probably heard of him. You've probably heard his actual voice. And so there we are at Thanksgiving this year at my father's house. And my family has this odd tradition. And by family, I mean my dad, his fourth wife, and all of my step siblings. And actually, just in case that wasn't awkward enough, a few of the former wives as well. The tradition on Thanksgiving is to go around and sarcastically mock each other, listing the reasons why another family member, another attendee at the table, is, and I quote, a cruel crustacean, end quote. Sometimes these things are accurate, but usually they're just made up crap that highlights one of the many, so many character flaws that my family members possess. And I know this seems weird, but you have to realize I have 6 stepbrothers and 4 stepmoms. There's a lot of cynicism at our Thanksgiving dinner. We baste the turkey in buttered sarcasm. So the genesis of this tradition comes from a crazy person. Not my dad, but another crazy person altogether. My father, one year, close to Thanksgiving, was on a train, and a young, handsome man approached him to make conversation. He's recognized my father, and he starts complimenting him on his work. And since my father is a bad person, he likes flattery. And so he just gobbles it up. And the guy keeps rattling off all of my dad's achievements and referencing some of his old wartime work that he's so proud of. And my father says, "This is impressive that someone as young as you would actually really care about a newsman." And the kid says, "Hey, are you looking for an assistant?" And my dad says, "Well, not really, but you could always be my assistant's assistant." And here's the problem. Here's where things go a little haywire. The problem is that when you're dealing with an absolute crazy person, they don't always wear name tags that say, "Hi, my name is crazy." They generally have very good coping mechanisms to hide it. My dad has no idea at this point that this kid is crazy. And then it explodes like manure in the microwave. And the crazy dude says, "Cool, I would love to be your assistant's assistant. My salary requirement is $150,000. And my father, shocked, says, $150,000 to be my assistant's assistant? And he says, no, not dollars. 150,000 British West African pounds. It's a defunct currency. I'm a big Forex trader, but I'm forming a hybrid industry. Time travel and Forex. The returns will be huge. So Dad says, this may not work out. And the kid asks, why? Why not? And my dad says, you're just not a good fit. And then the kid, in response, in a fit of frustration, says, well, you know what? You know what you are? You are just a cruel crustacean turkey eater. Now, I'm still not exactly clear if he meant like you're a cruel crustacean hyphen turkey, or if he meant like you were a cruel crustacean who eats turkey. That one could still go either way. I'm not positive. But in the end, it became our family's tradition. So it's my turn at the table, and I turn to my father and I say, Dad, you are a cruel crustacean because you cheated on my mother with a dude and he wasn't even a good-looking dude. Now, I thought I was just making this up to play into some of the rumors that have gone around the journalism industry about my father and his many, many male assistants. And it was always in good fun. So I thought. But apparently, this is something that actually happened. So everyone gets a little quieter than I would have suspected around the table. And it's hard to guess what exactly my dad is thinking. And Dad finally says, who told you this? Did your mother tell you this? And I say, I told myself that. I made it up. Zing. And this is when Dad goes completely a few good men on me. And he slams his hand on the table shouting, name your source! Name your source! And I say, since when do we provide sources for the cruel crustacean tradition? Julie didn't have to provide a source. Your 1997 marriage didn't have to provide a source. And his 1997 marriage looked a little angry at being called out, so I backed off. And Dad continued to be pretty miffed about it. My current stepmother finally convinced him to calm down, which is really amazing considering that her IQ is lower than her stiletto heels. So when he's calm, he says, I shouldn't have gotten upset. I'm sorry, Seymour. You're obviously lashing out because of your own struggles. It must be very frustrating not being able to finish college. And I say, Dad, there are a lot of fifth-year seniors. It's pretty common. And he says, yeah, but how many seventh-year juniors are there? And I say, I don't know, Dad. It's not like we started a club to hang out. None of us are that proud of it, I would imagine. So, then he gets all cruel crustacean. And he says, well, guess how many eighth-year seniors will be at this Thanksgiving table next year? And so I look around at my stepbrothers and sister, and they weren't looking around. They were all looking at me. So apparently this was a reference to me and my academic woes. And I just wanted to say, guys, you're always complaining about me being the center of attention. Well, maybe if you all stopped staring at me. But Dad starts talking with his old iconic voice again. He says, you're never going to amount to anything. You're a failure. You need to change course, and I've been enabling you. And I say, wait, so did you really cheat on Mom with a dude? And he ignores this. He says, tell you what, son, you make yourself a YouTuber account. And I said, you mean YouTube? And he says, is that how it is in the AP Style Guide? And I say, I don't know. I don't follow fashion, Dad. And then we both felt a little dumb, I think, because everyone was kind of giggling but hiding it, except us. So he just kept on going, and he said that the only way I'm getting school paid for next year was to start doing something productive, and that the internets, I quote, offer a vast information superhighway of knowledge and opportunity, end quote. And so, I have to start reading the news once a week and get 1 million subscribers by Thanksgiving next year, or I am cut off. And I can't go back to Thanksgiving. So that is my story. In fact, that is this week's top story. That's what led me, Seymour, to reading the news. I will read the news once a week, every Saturday. Subscribe to my channel, and we can all take part in making sure I have some turkey next year at Thanksgiving. I'm Seymour, And those are the wheat's top stories, Dad.